morning, coaches. Thanks for giving us a little bit of your time. A little more than halfway through spring ball. We got the spring game coming up here on Saturday. Can you just give us a little bit about how things are going for your units and maybe what you guys have been focusing on this spring?
Well, I think it's spring ball is a good time, especially the way college football is wired now with the portal, and we had 13 new guys on defense, so we got to get them acclimated to what we do. I mean, schematically, but more importantly, what we do culturally, defensively, in the red smoke, and what that means, and the standard that entails. So that's been the fun part, is integrating the new guys with the group that we already have, and it's been fun to watch. And they've had a great attitude and a great approach every day. And that doesn't mean every day has been perfect, but their mindset and approach and attitude towards it, with some difficult circumstances with the snow days and everything else. I mean, they've approached it really well. And we're excited about the group that we have.
What does red smoke mean? How do you describe that to some of the new guys, and what do you want overall the identity of this defense to be?
Well, we want to swarm to the ball. I mean, run to the ball relentlessly. We want to be the most physical unit in the country, and we want to get turnovers. So we did really well, the first year getting turnovers. Last year I thought we maybe did some things a little bit better. What I tell them is, you can't necessarily explain it, but you can certainly feel it. Mm-hmm. And that's what we want them to understand, of everything you got. Make us drag you out the field every day. That's what we kind of define it as. But, again, it's something that you feel.
Yeah. It's really a standard. Like, if you're not playing up to this standard, no matter what it is, whether it's walkthrough, weightlifting, whatever it is, you got to play to the standard that we set. And we make them set it. And so this is what y'all want, so we're going to hold you to that standard.
So every year in fall camp, we'll ask them, what do you guys want the red smoke to be? And we'll let them list off, 8 or 10 things. Let's say it's passionate. So we go out to practice, and practice 3, you guys aren't very passionate today. So did you really mean that, or are you just saying it? Mm-hmm. So by them setting it, I think it helps us hold them accountable to it.
When you're going through that process, is it team leaders? Is it open forum as far as who gets to set that standard and what the definitions are of that?
It's open forum, yeah. Mm-hmm. So now normally the leaders are the ones that have the first 3 or 4, but it ends up being 8 or 10, and things that we want to be about and stand for. And sometimes we'll guide them if there's a couple things they're missing, but we let them set it, and I think that's what creates ownership. And at the end of the day, coaches can lead. The great teams, the players lead. Mm-hmm. And that's been the challenge to our group. We have a bunch of veteran players coming back on defense, is to get them to take that challenge. And it's hard, and it's difficult, and it's lonely to be a leader when you got to call your peers out.
You mentioned player-led. Is that something that is already coming to fruition? Did last year, the way the season went, did that impact it? How has that transpired already?
Well, I think it's the biggest thing is, and Coach Chatwell's done a great job with it, but empowering our veterans to say, this is your team, and we'll back you up with whatever decisions you decide we need to make. So it's kind of started already, and it'll continue to happen. Some of it's organic, some of it you got to help push along. But I think we're on a good pace and a good track right now.
You guys didn't lose the faces or names. The offensive side of the ball kind of lost. You mentioned those leaders that are back. Has it helped kind of with getting these new guys up to speed when you have faces who have been here for a year or two in the system to get those new guys going?
I'll tell you where it really helps is in practice. Like you think about the secondary, you got a Corey Jones who's played a bunch of snaps, and Brylan Green at linebacker, Joe Carter. Like, you have extra coaches. So you got Coach Magee, myself, Coach Lynham, Coach Fearbaugh, Coach Waits, Coach Gallagher. We're all coaching, but then you think back and CJ Bazille's coaching a young guy. Joe Carter's so you end up having 8 to 10 extra coaches of veteran guys that know the scheme, know the standard, and can kind of be good cops when we're being the bad cops, So I think that's important, and they've done a great job with it.
The additions at linebacker were kind of, talked about a lot coming out of the portal. What have you seen from that group so far?
They've done a good job. Again, we put a lot on them in spring. We haven't had a bunch of off days, so they wake up and we install defense, and then we practice it, and the next day they wake up, we install more defense, practice it, and so on and so forth. So there hasn't been a whole lot of break for them. I think they've done a really good job, both Micah and Deuce, of learning what we do and how we do it, and it's not without mistakes, but they're working really hard at it, and we're excited about them, and I think they'll have a chance to help us on defense.
Skylor, you got a lot of guys returning up
Mm-hmm.
front. How much does it help to have guys that know you know them,
Mm-hmm.
and know what you're supposed to expect every day of practice?
It definitely helps. Having guys like Jay and Bryce and TJ, those guys have been around for a long time and played a lot of ball. So, working with the younger guys, this is like Coach Krantz said, they're able to help coach, and help develop some of those things, some of the little niches that it may not be in the playbook. But it's something that's a key that's going to help you on this. Some little details. Those guys have been in there and they've done it. So obviously, with those guys being able to help, it's expedites the process for sure.
And TJ's a guy that kind of played a lot
Mm-hmm.
his first 2 years. What are you hoping to see out of him this spring and going into this fall?
Really, for him, it's just he has to keep developing. Obviously, everybody has goals and dreams to do things, and to achieve that. And I tell him every day to be really good at D-line is not a 1 year, 2 year process. It's a lifetime of learning the techniques and developing those techniques, and also still playing at a certain level of intensity while you're doing it. So for him, it's been good watching it, but just continue to develop and reach that standard that he wants to reach.
This might be a stupid question, but with the quarterback battle, how much does it help the defense, or are these quarterbacks so similar that you're not getting many different looks, I guess?
They're different. They have different skill sets, and it helps us now because we can call things a bit differently based on who's in there, and it helps us to explain to our guys. Like in the year, you're going to play a guy that's like A and a guy that's like B, and we're going to call stuff differently. And that's been the nice thing about the level that we're at now is they're not necessarily only understanding the what, but now the why. Why are we calling this here? Why are we game playing it this way? And quarterback's a part of it, right? Receivers are a part of it. So it's been good for us. It's been beneficial to say when he's in, we're going to be a little bit more of this. When he's in, we're going to be a little more of that to help them understand the broad scope of it all.
Does the defense? Do you guys feel a little bit more responsibility? I guess obviously season's a long ways away, and you may not know what's happening in the fall. But does the defense feel like a little bit of added responsibility to pick up maybe as the offense is going through what could be new quarterback issues, a lot of new skill players? Does the defense feel the need to pick up that slack? I guess.
Yeah, I don't know that we look at it that way. I think for us, it's just chasing our best and chasing our standard, and hopefully that helps the whole team, as a whole. But at the end of the day, we got to chase our very best, and the pressure that we put on ourselves is bigger than any sort of pressure that we feel from anywhere else or any other reason why.
Are there a couple players maybe that have stood out this spring so far on the defensive side?
Up front, some new face would be like Cam Cullins. He's a freshman who is physically is ready. It's just a mental part. And like we said earlier, you come in the morning, you install defense, you rep it. You come in the next day, you install defense and rep it. Well, for an 18-year-old, 17-year-old kid, it could start to snowball on him. He's handled it pretty well. So I'm really, really eager to see how he handles the rest of the way, and just once spring ball is over and learning everything and seeing how he develops, because he's one of the freshmen that really have a chance to play. And Nate Paroli up front has been a walk-on. He's been here for 2 years, and he stepped in. And I mean, you think he's been playing for 3 years the way he goes about it. So it's been awesome to see.
In the back seven, I've been impressed with all the new guys, the freshmen and the transfers. We do put a lot on them, and there has been one that's tapped out and said that they're hurt, or tapped out and said it's too much mentally. So I think the new guys that have come in, I think have really attacked it well. So that'd be my answer there. I'm excited about the group that we have.
What do you guys see from a defensive back's standpoint? I guess that would be more for you. But I guess last year, there were some guys, Amari Williams, who were expected to take a step up. What do you see from some of the guys there this year?
Well, I mean, it's the same. We got to challenge them every day to do that. And the best way to challenge them is to bring in competition. So there's a bunch of guys that are playing right now and competing, and they know that nothing is given and everything's earned. And they have to approach it that way. And I've been pleased with Mo. I've been pleased with all the cornerbacks, to be honest, and the safeties, just their approach and their attitudes with it. Again, it's been a lot of running and practices back to back, and they haven't flinched. They haven't complained. They just wake up and eat ball, and it's exciting, to have that mindset back right now.
Question about two different players. Jalen Rock's a newcomer. You see him at safety primarily as you go into the season. And then Jaden Sweeney, another guy that we heard a lot about last fall camp, moving to corner. You think Is he kind of stepping into his own, maybe learning that position more as he's had more time there?
Yeah, and with J-Rock, we try to dual train the DBs, so we try to play him at multiple spots. I think that helps them for their future goals, right, of playing NFL, to be able to play multiple positions. It also helps us because you never know, Christian Bonner and Preston Hodge were examples. They played star, and then when we need him, they kicked out the corner. I see J-Rock in that mold where he could play star or corner, but he's in that star safety room right now, and he's doing a good job learning the defense. I mean, he got here 30 days ago, so he's done a good job there. And then with Jaden, he's got to just continue to improve with his consistency. It's not a skill set thing. It's not a physical ability thing. It's showing up every day, being locked in and focused on the task at hand. He certainly has a skill set to help us, and he's got to continue to work on his consistency for him to be a player that we can trust to put out there.
You mentioned Bonner. Has he been able to return to practice yet?
Been great. Yep.
Oh, good.
Yep.
Any other position changes or kind of testing to see what this player will do at this position? Any noteworthy thing there?
Nothing noteworthy, just in the back end. Like I said, we're going to move them around and play them at different spots and see who has a feel for doing certain things. So Corey, he's played star and safety. Bodner's played star and corner. Trying to think who else is Bodner. Those are probably the big two ones that, that's the biggest thing is we got to find a way to get our best 5 DBs in the field. As much nickel as we play, who are those 5 people? And the way you find out is to put them in those spots in practice and challenge them to see if they can A, learn it, and then B, do it. So those are the ones that we every day we change the depth chart. We change them around from where they line up and what position they're playing. And again, their attitudes and approaches to it have been awesome.
How much has the game changed, and even y'all's approach as far as coaches, given that there's certain spots where it could be maybe an edge, where maybe you're moving back, maybe you're lining up closer to the line. Same thing with safety linebacker. How much has that changed and opened up opportunities for guys that could take on dual roles?
Well, the game has changed so much, and just and it's ever changing, right? So what was in vogue last year is going to be dead this year, and it'll be something new. It's nice to be on offense because you get to decide what's in vogue, right? Defense, we got to adjust to it. But it's becoming a little bit positionless, right? Look at Quentin Reese is a great example last year. Quentin Reese played safety. He played Sam linebacker. He played the dollar. And when they introduced him on the Jumbotron, he said defensive specialist. I think a lot of it is going that way with the exception of a couple positions. So, again, we try to make sure our guys understand the big picture and the whole so that we can move people around and say this is just like this concept where it's putting some different people in there. That's kind of be an advantage for us with the depth that we have of guys that have played a lot of snaps at college football.
You mentioned with the exception of a couple positions, has that even changed? Some guys line up inside and kick out on pass rushing on the line or vice versa. Some guys maybe outside corners, but in certain spots maybe they move inside.
Yeah, and that gets to the situational part of football of base downs versus third downs, and we'll have a rabbits package where maybe T.J. Bush rushes the tackle or the guard, you know what I mean? Or C.J. Bazile rushes inside. If that gets our best 4 pass rushers on the field, then that's what we'll do. That would certainly be a situational thing. But yeah, it's changing all the time.